SQL views are commonly used in industry everywhere. Here are some common use cases for SQL views. In industry, we use SQL views to hide the complexity of our database and the data. This is extremely important in today's environment. We give our users self-service data mining tools such as Power BI and Tableau. If we ask our users to directly work with database tables, it could be very difficult for many of our users. A common practice is for IT and data professionals to create a view hiding the complexity of the database and the data, then ask our users to use the view instead of base tables. This will make creating self-service reports and visualization a lot more manageable for our users. Also, today in industry, system integration is very important. Every company has a portfolio of different applications and solutions. When we create a report or a visualization, we want to have a holistic view of the overall operations of the company. Therefore, we need to get data from different source systems, and very often we will need to import source data into a central system for creating the holistic report or visualization. And we can use a view to facilitate the system integration. For example, the destination system may have a very specific data format requirement. Then we can use a view to easily meet that format requirement. In industry, we also use SQL views to manage access and to configure permission. For example, we may have a personnel table. In the table, we have some columns that we want to share with the entire organization, such as employee name, department, office location. We may also have some other columns which we will give access only to some designated personnel, such as bonus, social security number, and salary. We can create different views to meet these business requirements. In other words, we use views to control permissions and to control access. Also, in industry, very often we need to maintain the backward compatibility. For example, we may have an application which has been in services for many years. With time, the business requirements have changed, and we need to update the database structure. For example, we may need to drop some old columns, create some new columns, or we may need to drop an old table or create a new table. We can create SQL views to emulate the old tables or the old columns so that even we update our database structure, we will not break our existing applications and the tools which depend on the database. This is a very common practice in industry. Keep in mind, SQL views are used everywhere in industry. They are very flexible, widely used, but in a large and busy environment. If we use regular SQL views, we may have performance issues. Wherever possible, we can turn a regular SQL view into an index view or a materialized view. This will greatly improve the query performance of a view. This is the end of our discussion.